Hello, I'm Joanna,
Hi, I'm Brenda.
and we're Gingers for Justice.
Hi.
So we have a quick one today, and it concerns plea deals being reversed.
How's that? So back in 1998 in Concord on Fisherville Road, I'm sure a lovely elderly lady, she was in her late 90s, was brutally murdered in her home by two men that were there to rob the place for drugs. And the two men were...
Let's see, Mark Haskins.
He was in his early 30s.
Yep. And then Edward McDonald.
Mid-40s.
Yeah. So after this occurred, and obviously they were caught, what had happened is that Haskins wanted to roll over on his friend and say, hey, I want a lesser sentence to get, obviously they're guilty. They've been caught, but he kind of rolled, he was going to roll over.
He was going to plead to second degree was the offer, and he was still going to be getting 30 to life as opposed to 40 to life. Right. So the prosecutors and everybody had come with that deal, and then he agreed, and they were going to be he was going to be testifying as the other fellow being the lead or the one who probably actually did the murder. He was trying to say that he was there and they did a burglary, but he was worse than me.
Right. So after additional DNA testing of hairs and blood and fibers of the scene, probably just more investigating on this, they found out that he was not exactly, he being Haskell, was not the one that was the lead person in this whole crime. It was the other guy, Edward. And what ended up happening, they wanted to reverse the plea deal, which ended up taking quite a bit of time to do, but it did eventually happen.
It did. They were able to, the judge was like, well, you have to prove that he lied to undo your plea agreement. I mean, he probably thought they'll never know the difference and I'm going to rattle on the other guy. But they were actually able to turn around and stop or cancel the plea agreement. The judge agreed.
Right, yeah. I think it was several years.
Yeah, it was in like 2003 or later when this was actually happening. But so McDonald did end up getting 20 to life and the better deal. And Haskins
ended up with 40
to life.
So they increased his from the plea deal, what they were going to do. So just to show that you can get a plea deal reversed if more evidence comes forward. So not necessarily always going to be true that the person getting the plea deal is getting the plea deal
is the right one, which is kind of the idea of the plea deal, is you really don't know because somebody's saying, hey, let me go before that guy because I'm not quite as bad as that guy.
Right.
Come to find out, he's worse than that guy. And kudos to prosecution and everybody for that, for continuing to dig and not just letting it go.
Right.
Thinking, he got 30, let's leave him alone, or he got 20 or whatever.
It probably there was someone, maybe family was more persistent on what had happened, or again, people talk. There wasn't a lot of information on that particular of what made it turn, but besides having more evidence.
Right. So. And they both did plead guilty to burglary and conspiracy to burglarize. So there was some other counts as well. They knew what they were there for. Why this poor woman was murdered is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, the caregiver for her found her body the next day. It must have been horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. But we're glad that there was justice for both of the men.
Yes.
In the long run. More than the other.
Yeah. So that's about all we have for this week. Hopefully we'll have a little more.
Yeah, another one in depth, something else local maybe. But this is kind of a little bit of a different story with a plea deal. We thought we'd bring it to you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See you again.
Bye.